Alright guys, so today I am going to be pulling my control arms off the front, sway bar off the front, and going to be stripping my steering box brace. I'll be stripping the other parts too, and I'm going to be taking them to my buddies to powder coat them since my oven's not big enough. I'll probably pull my pitman arm off if I can get it off the steering box, and I'll powder coat that here. I have steering box brace here in the box, and I got a tow truck part. It's sitting in the driveway. I just unhooked it from the camper from re-leveling it, but I'm gonna go up there and start working on it. Alright guys, so power's off. When you take these control arms off, this bottom bolt here is your alignment bolt. You're gonna want to remember, probably take a picture of what the alignment is. That way, if you don't get it to alignment shop right away, you can put it back pretty close to where it was. So if you're running it for a week or whatever, it's not all over the place. So I'm gonna take a paint marker, mark it so I can get a good picture of it. But it's just top bolt, bottom bolt, bolt back at the frame. I'm gonna press these bushings out. I have brand new bushings for the back. I figure this thing's got 94,000 miles on it. I'm gonna replace some bushings. Plus with the heat and everything, I don't know how well they're gonna take it. I gotta go pick my sway bore links up today. I'm probably gonna paint them blue, the body color blue, since the sway bar is gonna go orange. Pretty much take the sway bar off. You just take the link off there, and then there's these mounts here, one on each side. And then I'm gonna try to take this pitman arm off and powder coat it, since I gotta put that steering box brace on, which it goes underneath your mounts for your sway bar, and it goes into your pitman arm nut or stud. So I'm gonna get all that torn apart. Alright guys, so I got all the bolts out. Well, loose, I don't have them out. The only one's out's this one, on the bottom on the driver's side. I did put a jack stand underneath the pumpkin by the drive shaft. That's so whenever I take these control arms off, the axle does not rock back, because it's gonna want to move. The only thing really holding it in place will be dry shaft, right now the sway bars, the your steering linkages, because the shocks right now I have them disconnected to get into the bolts. I mean, there ain't really a whole lot still holding it in place. These control arms are pretty much what holds it. So I'm going to take the back bolts out first, let it sit down on that jack stand, and then I'm going to pull the rest of them out. bolts out, kind of pulled them out with a wrench, and then I just kind of pushed down on the control arms, and it's sitting on the jack stand, just the way I wanted it to. Nothing ever works the way I want it to, and it actually worked out the way I wanted it to. So I'll pull the top bolt out of this side, and then I got to pull both bolts out of the other side, and all the control arms out. So that's the top bushing on the axle, and the bottom bushing, which are actually the same as the ones that are in the control arm themselves. Which, that's the one where your adjustment bolt goes in. And there's a control arm, which I'm going to change this bushing since I don't know how it'll take the heat. Sway bars out, which you can do one person. It's definitely easier with tube because then you don't drop it on yourself, which, as you saw, I backed my bolts out too far and almost did, but it is doable with just one person. And it's a 15, not a 16, because the 16 it just took the rust and paint off that was on them bolts, and I had to switch sockets. Bushings are that are a little rough, but they'll be covered up with the bushings anyway, so I'm not too worried about them. But it doesn't look too terrible. I mean, there's another spot right there, but it should cover up with powder. Not too worried about it. Next thing, hold on a second. Next thing I have here is the steering box brace. None of you've ever put them on. These holes here, they match up with the where are the brackets at? There they are. They match up with the sway bar brackets, and pull right in with them. And obviously this goes on your steering box, or where your Pitman arm goes on, and this will be your new nut. And there's a bearing in here that'll go in that hole, which I'll show you how that goes on anyways. But that's going to be the next thing I clean up. So the steering brace is done, and I definitely need to go get my sawhorses out of my dad's, because these things move around way too much. I ended up sticking it in the vise and doing it over there, which there is no room on that workbench at all, because there's a pile of parts over there for the truck, and there's just this tiny little work area. But yeah, one of these days I'll get out there and go get them. Alright guys, so finally get to use the new press. I don't know how well it's going to work, because I got to find, when I got to put these back in, I got to find something that's the actual size of that bushing. I can only have the plates right on this lip because that bushing's pretty flush. I don't know if you can see here. There's a recessed lip here, and that bushing's laying right on that recessed lip. Kind of was afraid I was going to push the center out instead of pushing the actual bushing. I'm probably going to have to find a piece of pipe that'll fit it. I don't know if I got anything in my ball joint to press that big or not. Yeah, I shall see. The control arms, which these things are actually really light for some reason, but I gotta move all this crap out of the way and mount this to the ground so I can press these bushings out now. So that's alright guys, so I did manage to get one of these bushings out. I did not notice that the first time, so there's a little groove right here, and that is actually the bushing. So when I was trying to press it, I was pushing against the actual bushing, so nothing was happening. So then I tried taking a punch and pushing on this and pushing on the other side, just, you know, putting it in place and trying to pound it out. That wasn't working real well, so I ended up heating this with a weed burner. Got it nice and hot, and then get this over here. Sat in there, and I did the same thing I did earlier, and I I pressed it out that way. It actually came out real easy. I had to put a little bit of weight on this side to keep it from flipping down in the hole. Clean it out. So I'm going to do the same thing with this side. I'm going to heat it up though again and push it out, and then I'll end up cleaning up both sides and get them ready to take tomorrow to powder coat. Alright guys, so sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. In my case, I usually always lose. So I ended up burning out the inside of this bushing, and I'm either going to crush the metal down and push it out, or I'm going to cut it and push it out. So I wasn't able to just press it out like I did with the other one, which the other one made this one look, or the other one was a lot easier. This one made it look a lot harder, or made the other one look a lot easier. You get what I'm saying. This one was definitely 10 times harder. So clean this all up and get it ready for tomorrow. Alright guys, so I ended up slicing it there at the bottom, and then slicing it a little bit at the top, enough so I could squeeze it together to get it out. I did actually cut into the control arm a little bit, but it's not enough that it's going to hurt anything. But thing, so these control arms are hollow, and there is 2 holes right there that let in water, dirt, whatever, which is probably why those get seized in there. I don't know why those are there, but I don't know if it's, I guarantee a lot of the manufacturers have them there, but that's not good for us who live in the northern states that use salt and stuff. That just rusts them things in there, which you can see on this one. You can see the rust marks, and there's a lot of high spots right around there. So I'm not sure if that's a soldered it in there or not, but it's out. I got them cleaned up. I'm gonna get them thrown in the truck. So after I help my pap out tomorrow at the feed mill, I can go get them powder coated. So I'll probably be doing this video in 2 parts. Obviously this was tear down and clean up the pieces to get powder coated, and then the next video will be powder coating them and putting them back on the truck. I just don't want to make it too long, because get them too long they get boring and everything. So the next video will obviously be powder coating and put them back on the truck. But stay tuned, I got a lot of stuff coming up. Little sneak peek. Then probably might not be the next video, but it'll be one coming up. My head crack's back. It is powder coated. He's seen I did do a light bar. These are, well, they're dirty now, but these are the light bars that are going to be going on my head crack, which I'd have in the next, or one of the videos coming up. There, start shooting. And then, like I said earlier, I have a whole pile of crap sitting here and a whole pile of crap sitting in my shed that still need done.